Hello,
All right.
everybody. My name is Elisabetta Borghi. Today, Filiberto Amati left me alone, but I am hosting an amazing startupper, an amazing founder. It's the CEO of Jikoro Sciences. It's right. And his name is Michael Amadi. Thank you so much for being here. And
It's my pleasure. Thank you. Um, we say Jikoro Sciences, but
sorry.
close enough. I'm excited to be here. Excited.
The claim of your company is that you are solving real issues with technology. Can you tell us more about your vision and Project X?
Yeah, I'm definitely happy to. The way we look at this is that there's 8 billion people in the world, and in 10 years, uh, these 8 billion people will need access to more resources, faster, more efficient systems. And there's this big gap in the current technologies that we have now today and their inefficiencies and the needs of really today and tomorrow. And so we want to be one of the companies that supports this ecosystem where we have affordable technologies to essentially uh, produce a more sustainable world of tomorrow.
Thank you. The fact that the pandemic changed a
Mhm.
lot of landscapes immediately changed also the consumer needs. So, what is your perception, and what do you think it's missing in the current customer experience, omni-channel or simply online?
Yeah, so in the online space, online marketplaces, e-commerce, one of the most staggering figures is that 50% of customers can't find the product they want. And so they either leave the ecosystem essentially their demand isn't met. Um, let's talk about importance. The importance is that humans need to eat, they need to consume, and they need to build. And so that through this invention of the internet, this allows consumers and merchants to connect, and it supposedly connect in seamless ways. And so the consumer experiences, the user experiences, are essentially not efficient. They're too bunched up. They're not direct, and so they don't essentially guide the user to the product they want. What often happens, I think in the terms of myself as a consumer, is that when I go online to buy a product, I'm often, fed, 50 to 100 different products, and my checkout experience isn't, as seamless as possible. But there's also a lot of information that I want, and really marketplaces haven't really found a way to essentially illustrate this information in a way where I could read and still be excited about the product. I still feel like I'm reading a thesis and fragments that don't tell me much about the product, like where it's made, how if it's a sustainable, if it's good for the environment, if it's good for my body, and if I'm indeed getting the best quality product, pricing and nutrition wise, but also in terms of like clothing and other types of products, if my purchase is actually supporting this goal for a sustainable world by 2030.
That's amazing. If you were a brand, for instance, what do you think to do to fill this gap in the experience and to stay relevant online?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So most brands, they actually have anywhere from um, 3 to 7 applications to, which is supposed to help them improve the customer engagement or the consumer engagement experience. And so they have applications for listing their product, advertising their product, and attempting to get into this content creator world where influencers help dictate dictate the mood of the audience towards the product. And so what happens is that we have these multiple skill sets and this demand that is unmet, and it's very costly for brands to advertise and list a product these days. And so if I was a brand today, I'd be looking for a solution that allows me to, in a more leaner process, distribute my product to consumers and illustrate what it why our product is number one or in top 10. And because consumers are more educated. I think that's one thing that's often misunderstood. Consumers today than in the past 30 years know more about the supply chain and sustainability and the impact. And so consumer influence is really heavy today. Consumers are choosing select products based on their impact to the environment, and is also the impact to human capital. Is it produced in a fair trade environment where workers are essentially not coming from slave labor practices, but they're being paid fair wages that allow them to feed their family? Really important things, because the tables can be easily turned against us, and I would want to be paid fairly. And so, what brands need to do is they need to cut down in their honestly very, I'm going to say, antiquated processes, and launching a product to market, and find a solution, a better solution.
In particular, in this period, we also have another challenge that it's probably something that you are trying to solve with your solution. That is the passage between Web 2 to Web 3. And the problem is that also for a brand, it's not so clear what is the difference between Web 2 and Web 3. And immediately, many people, many managers are thinking about the fact that Web3 is equal to the metaverse. So there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of meta washing, let's call it meta washing. So we need to understand a little bit more what is Web3 effectively, and how can help a brand in giving a better service to their customers.
Yeah, so it's funny. I just had a great conversation about this over the weekend, and when we look at this, if you remember in the early days of the internet, or if you've heard of about the experiences, when you often wanted to purchase a product, or like for example, in my case, if I wanted my parents to purchase a product in the early days of the internet, they were scared. They didn't trust the system, and eventually the internet evolved, and it became, we started having more security protocols that allowed for safer transactions. And so the way I like to think about the next generation of the internet, Web3, it's this evolution where transactions are supposed to be seamless. So it kind of goes back to the brand to consumer interaction, that process flow map. Consumer goes, logs on to for example, a website or a marketplace. They know what product they want to purchase. In 3 clicks, they should be able to purchase a product. There's also the concept of data ownership. Oftentimes, there are companies that utilize a technology known as cookies to essentially capture all of our data and our behavior. So in a way, use predatory machine learning. And sometimes even today, I sometimes get freaked out. It was like, wait, I was just looking for, kettle pot, now I'm getting recommended like 30 different kettle pots. And, but we live in a world where our livelihood and our financial security is at risk with the current infrastructure. We need better security protocols that protect us against predatory practices that put us at risk. Um, and in today's world can affect our credit score. We need better tools. So, you'll hear terms like artificial intelligence that enhance our shopping experiences where the goal is for e-commerce and marketplace shopping to be once again seamless. Three steps of the button, three steps, three clicks, and we get the product we want. We shouldn't have to get recommended or pushed to so many different channels to buy the t-shirt, to buy the jacket, to buy the food product that we want. And so, Web3 is the next evolution of the internet where security is taken more seriously, where data ownership, where your personal data could be useful to companies as it is in this current stage, Web2, but you have a personal stake. Companies ask for permission to get your personal data. Advertise it. We advertise it goes to the next level. I mean, that's definitely another topic I'd love to talk about another day. But there's so many solutions, and so the concept of Web3 has been around for a while. It's just now starting to pick up the steam. But it's the next generation of the internet where it's all about seamless. It's all about happy customers. It's all about creating processes for both the merchant and the customer. But I want to talk about one thing that you brought up, the metaverse. And so the metaverse, Web3, terms like blockchain, artificial intelligence, they're 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 really important terms. They're huge terms. They're not more than buzzwords. They're essentially terms that help us, get to, phase two of a better lifestyle. Get to sustainability, and other important aspects. Um, but the metaverse is more than just this digital world. Uh, the metaverse is where we can, in a way, be connected to of the physical world and the digital world, where our consequences in the digital world can help shape the aftermath in the physical world. So, primary example, like a use case, well, we can design sustainable cities in the metaverse, where we can, have different identities. We can protect our identity, right? Similar concepts as the Web3, and we can actually take that blueprint and help create a better environment in the world we live today. And so I like to think of the metaverse as this connection between the physical world and this virtual world where we remove the barriers. Oftentimes, a lot of industries have, a lot of hurdles. And so the best talent doesn't necessarily get to become that stakeholder. They just are really just the paper holders or they're just the paperweights. And so in the metaverse, you can think about it where all types of talent can get together and contribute to essentially move our society of the world where we have 8 billion people to essentially a better lifestyle, a better future. So that's the metaverse. All big terms, but completely different systems.
What about the layer of fintech in this context? Because many people hate to use digital wallets. They do not like to buy crypto. So it's in a way, it's like when your father was not comfortable in using the credit card online initially.
Right.
So how
So
do you see it?
yeah, no, I love talking about fintech. So fintech is really just financial technology, and if you really think about it, fintech has been around since the beginning. Our ancestors, traded, food products or household goods, household products that were maybe sewn or put together with clay, etc. Right? And over this time, centuries, we ended up with trading coins and then became the evolution of the checkbook, which was a digital ledger, right? Something that actually blockchain is. It's a form of digital ledger. And then we came to the concept of the debit cards and the credit cards. And now we have technologies where we can at the click of a passcode or using a passcode in our phone, we can pay for items at the grocery store, we can pay for transportation, we can send money to friends. So that's all fintech over centuries. But where we are, we're in this new transitionary period where the concept of cryptocurrencies has become alive. Um, it's, for the last 13 years, it's been proven as a very, very important and responsible point of evolution for fintech, where we can track transactions in public or private methods. But really, the cryptocurrencies act as a token. There's various forms. There's security tokens, and which hold value, store value, and there's utility tokens. But I'm not going to go that deep. I'm just going to talk about the surface layer of what a cryptocurrency does. It allows me to send money to my relatives over 8 hours away, over 10 hours away, in a matter of seconds. Where with traditional fiat technologies like the dollar, um, it could take up to 3 days. It could take, and then and then there's other barriers associated with traditional fiat, right? A dollar end up not being a dollar, and therefore I have to send more money, or my recipients get less money. So it goes back to this thing about seamless. These technologies that have somehow evolved over the entire pandemic, engineers, artists, everybody has come together and said, let's bring this movement alive, allows us to essentially go back to seamless. At a click of a button, we get instantaneous solutions. And so, for those that are afraid of cryptocurrency, always do your research. Um, but the big coins, Ethereum, Bitcoin, BTC, ETH, those are more, and there are other products out there, but I could speak to those. Those are more reputable brands. Do your research. The object is to build an ecosystem where we're better connected. I know everybody wants to get rich, but at the end of the day, it's all about being seamless. How can we look at this? If I think this is an important point. Uh, as humans, our goal with technology isn't just to get us to Mars, the moon, dig faster, go faster in cars. It's to make our lifestyles easier. And so the technologies that are coming out this day, they're being innovated by creators, innovators of all types, are meant to help improve our life, and not just you and I, but the 8 billion people and the 10 billion people that exist one day, right? So that's my perspective about cryptocurrencies.
And what about your project? What are you trying to bring in the market that all the other marketplaces are not offering, in your opinion?
Yeah, so I'm very excited. This is a project that's been, for a while been in conversation, and we've shelved it, unshelved it, and we were waiting for the right market fit. And so what we're doing is we're creating this marketplace that allows 8 billion people to connect. We use new technologies, some of the technology we talked about in this meeting, to essentially help create that seamless interaction where brands can connect with consumers. That's the consumer engagement. The purpose is to help them tell a better story, help these brands tell a better product or brand story where it's engaging and fulfills the customer's demand for more information in a way that's not congested, in a way that's straight to the point, that allows them to make a decision in less than 5 seconds. So we go back and work on those three principles: three clicks of a button so that their customers are able to buy their product. But we use, and on the other side, every time a customer buys a product, we allow them to own their data, but we create this marketplace this data marketplace that's instantaneous, that allows us to build real-time market analytics, real-time market insights to help brands improve their performance, so that they're able to innovate faster and more efficient. Because at the end of the day, no brand wants to build a product that customers don't want.
Yeah, absolutely. And how can a brand build a community in your platform? Because you know that to engage, you need to be consistent in some way and to try to get loyalty in your customer base requires efforts.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So, we got a couple things up our sleeve that we're working on, but we're focusing on the next generation of advertising, where it's easy, where we make it easier for a brand to advertise their product message or brand messaging across a number of platforms. As you know, there's so many different social media networks. Each of them have their own communities, but they're not integrated, and so it's hard for somebody to post a message in one of the meta platforms, like Facebook or Instagram, and then move on to either Snapchat or TikTok. But there are other advertising platforms that have been successful, over the last 10, 20 years, and new types of technologies that are coming out. And so, what our value proposition to the industry is that we bring those technologies together in a seamless fashion, where at a click of a button you get uh, 2 to 3 options based on the tier that you sign up for, that allow you to distribute that information to your audience types in a geographic manner and build those real-time insights. And so, that's our value proposition, and that's what's exciting. And so, to build an audience, you do the same thing you're doing, but now it's just cleaner and faster, and all together in one place.
It make things easier for a marketer to understand exactly how to promote all the strategy in one solution without a lot of different providers.
Exactly.
Uh, yeah. Can you tell us a little bit more how the blockchain technology can enable a better information about the products and how it can make easier also the supply chain
Okay. So you froze there. This would be a banana moment. All right.
pro-
So we know now this is where we edit. Um, you can go ahead and ask the question again.
okay. How does the blockchain operates as a source of trustable information for products and also how it can be helpful in the supply chain processes in your platform?
Yeah, so I think I honestly believe one of the greatest technologies that was made for the supply chain was the QR code. We can store so much information within this QR code system. But what happens to that data? I want to bring up an important statistic. The cost of bad data per year is $1 trillion. And so, what is bad data? It's a collection of things. It's data that's been misrepresented, data that's been uncollected. And so for us, we use blockchain as a digital ledger. And so it allows us to use these unique identifiers to capture all the components of a product within its supply chain and value chain, so that one, it's always traceable, and we can use it to then build out supply chain analytics to understand where demand is, where bottlenecks are, where roadblocks are, and so we can avoid future crises. But blockchain is a more efficient way of stacking data, and in ways where it makes it easily accessible throughout any system, and immutable. So immutable means where it's not easily destroyed. So, for example, an engineer could be drinking a coffee, a supply chain engineer could be drinking a cup of coffee
Mhm.
and maybe fall asleep, and all of a sudden hits a keyboard. Uh-oh, what was that? What did I erase? Well, in traditional ledger technologies or databases, essentially that data, the record's gone. You can control Z, but if more than one button and another action was committed, it doesn't exist. And so we can store this data and new events that have happened in the supply chain on top of this data, and then it's pretty much it gets stored in stacks, and those stacks we call blocks. And so because they're connected in different events in supply chain. We call those this the chains, and so this is the blockchain. And so
Mm.
that's really the pretty much the advancement in data storages.
And so, if we can think about the current marketplace solution, I'm just saying probably the most well-known, such as Amazon, for instance, one of the few, or eBay, for instance. What are the main assets that make your solution different and powerful to a brand that wants to make the level up
Yeah,
in the
for
market.
the brands that want to jump on, I'd say reach out to us. But where we differ is in the types of solutions that we offer. We offer real-time market insights, and so we have a real-time market analytics uh, and then we have this seamless, like going back to that word. I love that word seamless because what it means is that it's easier. It's like me, I like to go to the store and say I need a shirt, so I think about what type of shirt I need, what color, what size, and I go straight to the search section. And for us, if you could think about that journey for the customer, we essentially help guide them using the tools to the shirt section, and so they're able to buy that shirt and easily exit that marketplace. If they need other products, well, they can get those products. And so for us, comparison to those large scale marketplaces like eBay and Amazon, we're filling a white space, meaning that we're saving these brands money in terms of marketing, in terms of building analytics, and in terms of increasing and making the customer journey more efficient. Because if you're a brand, then the number one term you're going to hate is bounce rate. You don't want customers to come to your site and leave. When you see high bounce rate numbers, you know there's something wrong. But what's really interesting? There really isn't a technology that exists that informs you why your customers have essentially bounced from your website. And so we want to close that gap. Like I said, we have plenty of white spaces to fill. We'll do it in phases, but we want to focus on building better customer journeys and brand experiences. And so it essentially improved that user and brand experience. Something that unfortunately, a lot of these platforms they don't do. They offer a lot of tools, but it's just not an easy process.
Mhm.
It's almost like you become a specialist just to use the platform.
Yes. And making a journey so innovative requires, of course, a lot of investments and effort, and I suppose also skilled resources to do all the project. So what are your main challenges now, and how would you like to solve in the short and in the long term?
Yeah, so obviously this is a very large project. I mean, we're excited. We've actually been, building the infrastructure for a while. The architecture of this, what this network would look like. We really call it a global marketplace, right? And for us, some of our challenges have been the advances in technology. We needed artificial intelligence to mature, and we needed this concept of decentralization to take place. We needed a blockchain to start being accepted in the enterprise ecosystem because before it was accepted, blockchain was just a cool term that was used by people who really wanted to create change in the world. I often refer back to the original Bitcoin paper that was authored by the identity Satoshi Nakamoto, which essentially gave the guidelines to how we would get to a better future, where we would build a better commerce, one where uh, interactions are seamless. And for a brand, I mean, to go back to the advantages, we accept, our goal is to accept fiat, so dollar currencies, but also cryptocurrencies, and we have a system to do that makes it going back once again seamless. What does this mean? Um, you can pay with cryptocurrency, but our process is direct. So you don't have to go through Unfortunately, in the current ecosystem, you have to use many wallets or many exchanges, but we do it all seamless, all in one step. And uh, what for brands, this means that their transaction finality is now no longer 30 days, 31 days before they see their money. It happens in a matter of a few minutes. And so that's the exciting thing about our platform.
For, for sure, for the credit risk manager, it's certainly
It's like they're
a
done.
plus, I
Exactly.
would say.
And
I
and if I
know
wa-
that, please tell me.
Yeah, no. And so I was just gonna say, we're bootstrapping this application. So, my team, we're working hand to hand together to essentially build this application. And the computer languages have evolved. And so we're actually gearing up for a fundraiser pretty shortly. I'll be happy to provide the information for individuals who would like to know more about our application that we're building and also interested in our fundraiser. But we're excited, and I think we honestly believe that throughout these innovations and customer acceptances and enterprise acceptances, they've actually removed a lot of the hurdles for us, and so we're just having fun building.
Yeah. I know that your company is based in San Francisco, so you are based in probably the best place to start a project like that. To grow, I am sure that you need to run investment round. So
Hmm.
this is
Hmm.
your moment
Oh
to let
yeah.
us know more about what are you thinking to do and what do you want to realize with these investments.
Yeah, so for the investments, they're going to help us one expand our development team. If you want to go far, you got to work with a team. That's a important important saying. One half of the saying, but it's really important. So it's going to allow us to expand our development team, and it's going to allow us to bring down over time bring down the cost of our application. Because one thing we want to do, as we mentioned, is we want this application to be useful to the future 8 billion people who will be one day be directly connected and demand commodities in this global marketplace. The world is going to is essentially becoming digital, and so we want to be that catalyst where technologies can essentially be launched in this marketplace and be reached across the world. And so, in villages and in small towns and big cities. Um, so for us, our investment allows us to build out a better application, continue the work that we're doing. I honestly, the feedback I get is that we're doing great work, but it allows us to bring a very, very innovative and useful product to both the enterprise, small business, and the consumer, audience. So uh, I'll put some more information about the type of fundraisers we'll have. One of them I can speak to is we'll have an initial fundraising for our token that allows users to get access to our platform. So it's a utility token, and I'll provide more information about that.
Okay, thank you. Are you open to the global market since the beginning, or are you planning to enter gradually, starting from, I don't know, the US and enter gradually to Europe? What are your plans?
Yes, yeah. Let's clarify that. I do say global marketplace, and I do mean it. But in the real world, we have to start with a specific industry. So we're, here in California, so we're we have more access to the U.S. market, but gradually we will enter every market. And the reason why we can't just say here's an application, launch it to every market, is because there's different barriers. So in some countries, in some towns, in some villages, they have different technology devices. So some have high fidelity and some have low fidelity. And so an application, it's really, why our application, why these investments and why our application is taking this long is because we have to build an application that is user friendly. for users all across the world, and it supports their current network infrastructure, because there's no point in building something that somebody in a town, 10 hours away from me can't use because they don't have the device to support the application interface. So in the network. So we're carefully and meticulously building out, in phases, and we'll expand to every market, and our goal is that, to expand to everyone.
Thank you so much for this insightful chat. I learned a lot of things that I ignored before. Thank you. And we will wish you that you can arrive soon also here in Europe where we are.
Of course, of course, I want everybody to live a sustainable life and contribute to sustainability. I'm very excited. Thank you for having me. My team is excited that we're finally starting to, talk about our Project X, and this is, this is an opportunity not just for us but for everybody, because we are part of the audience. It's a pleasure. Hopefully, we
Thank you
talk
so
soon.
much, Michael.